right, guys, what's going on? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE, joined here, as always, by one Mr. Big Z. What's up, Z?
Hey, another week, getting ready to go to a vault here in Texas. I don't have to get onto a plane this month. That's pretty awesome.
That's got to be the first time in forever for you.
Yeah, everything since last summer I've had to fly to.
Yeah.
I think Origins was the only event that I went to without flying. So,
yeah.
Yep.
And then, obviously, we've been wanting to add a little something onto the cast. And we got the man with all the numbers. And that would be Mr. Grant. What's up, Grant?
Hey, what's up? Doing good. Glad to be here.
So you guys enjoyed Grant's and Z's cast so much that I figured, you know what? Grant's got the numbers. He's the one kind of calculating all the fun stuff for us. I think it's time maybe we just start bringing that stuff on. And we're going to focus more on that.
Maybe our facts won't be as wrong as often. So.
Yeah, maybe Grant will correct our numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
We do have a numbers problem here on the show. So, but without ado, I think we got a ton of stuff kind of to really go through here in a relatively quick manner. So I want to start out with the new store championship kits are in. Who knew?
Yeah. My store manager, I'm the TO at one of the places I play at, messaged me and says, "Hey, we got a new kit in." I was like, "What do you mean we got a new kit in? Is it the same? Is it Bingo Bang Bang?" And he's like, "No, it's something different." And I was like, "Well, do you have a time frame of when we can be doing this?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll get back to you." He still hasn't got back to me, but because I don't think he knows. Because did anybody know this was coming? I didn't.
I did not see anything come out. I do watch the news page quite often.
Yeah, I mean, I have it whatever notify me whenever there's new things, and I haven't seen anything Keyforge related other than announcements about announcements and casts about stuff we've already heard of,
right?
In a while.
Well, do we want to just dive into that right away? It seems I know it's your pain point, and it's a point of contention probably for both of you guys, since you guys are both a part of the competitive team. You guys want to really dig
part of a competitive team, yeah.
Yep, you guys want to really dig into just this non-information that we're getting about Worlds. We're getting about
it's starting to
Warrior.
Really hurt. I specifically get on to different people on my team about complaining at certain intervals, but now I'm there. I'm at the point where Worlds is 3 months away, literally to the date 3 months away, and we don't know what format it is. We know after this weekend that certain people will be for sure invited off of the top 100. That still seems a little fuzzy about how exactly that works, how we get the invitations. We don't know how any of that's actually going to occur. And we don't even have a format for Worlds. If we all these people are setting up teams to go to this thing, we don't know if it's Archon, we don't know if it's sealed, we don't know if it's 3 decks, 1 deck, 2, nothing. We have no idea how we can be prepared.
Big ideas. Remember hearing them saying they want to have each player on the team doing something unique. So not doing the same thing, but that's
we know that, Grant, from conversations we've had with people at vaults that we go to. But even that information that we get is so vague. It's we have hints of this or that, but there's no articles anywhere. There's no Crucible cast anywhere. There's nothing in any Facebook responses anywhere that can be this is how this is going to be. And that's a big deal. Because my team is my son and my wife, and when they ask me, my family asked me well, I figured that I of all people should know what's going on. Well, what are we going to be doing at Worlds? And it's well, I've dished out however many X amount of money to secure our tickets and everything, and I can't answer them because I have no freaking clue. We're going to show up and play Keyforge on these days.
I was going to say,
that's
you're going to play Keyforge.
That I have.
That much you know is true. You'll be playing Keyforge, at least. But beyond that, we don't know.
We are going to be a team some way, somehow. We don't know if matches are best of one and some, the way that we've been seeing them at vaults. We don't know anything more than that. We're going to be at a team and we're going to be playing Keyforge those 3 days. And even that, like, I know that those are the dates for Worlds. Like, we don't know if it's actually like all 3 days are part of the Worlds competition, or if it's just the Saturday and the Friday previous are the actual like day 1, day 2. Like, we don't know that. So that is more intriguing information.
Grant, you and I are a team. We'll be with Justice.
You and Eric.
Yeah, we're going to be a team. I mean, how does this making you feel? I guess that's the question. Is this frustrating you as well?
I've been running with the assumption that the team format they're running at Vault Tours, one person plays Archon, one Reversal, one Adaptive. My guess is that's the format that we're going to be using. So I've been running with that assumption. It's definitely weird not hearing information. But my thing is more about future tournaments. Like, when are they? When can I start planning travel? So that's my thing that I'm dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, at one point in time, we were getting a lot of information coming out from FFG. We were getting information, what seemed like left, right, and center. Some of it was just kind of even repeat of things we already knew, but we were at least getting tidbits and more information. And now we're not really honestly getting much of anything. It seems like Keyforge articles used to release bare minimum once a month, and we would actually see something that would give us some sort of information as to something, anything. And we know now Keyforge articles are pretty sparse. We got 2 this week that are kind of going through the new set, the new mechanic of, and I forget the name of the new mechanic. What is it? Enhance. And then obviously the dual cards. But other than that, I mean, we got Vault Warrior coming up in 2 months.
Well,
I mean, 1 month
from the original video, from the original cast, Vault Warrior is supposed to start in March. February is short, people. So,
Yeah.
March is next month. So what? 24 days. It will be March. So,
well, it is.
I don't know where. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and you would think at this point in time, qualifiers would be happening now.
Vault Warrior Qualifier is what it's called. So in the original article, the very first thing we learned is that Vault Warrior Qualifiers were the 10 tournaments that you could get to Vault Warrior Championship, but the qualifier is the big events. The tryouts were the things that allow us to get free entry to the Vault Warrior Qualifier. And my thought is, like, my store would have liked to start running these as soon as possible, so that we can maybe we can run more than one of these tryouts, or maybe we could find a way to help the winner of the tryouts fly to these events, because that's part of the things that they mentioned in the first cast. And if the first Vault Warrior is supposed to be next month, I don't know of where or when or anything about that I've seen anywhere. So much less like there be tryouts for this thing to be occurring. I know it's supposed to be in Europe, right? I think the first one was supposed to be in Europe.
Yeah, the first one was supposed to be, it's going to be next month in Europe. And then they had said during that same cast that the following month would be in the US.
Yeah.
So we were working off a March, April timeline. And we've literally heard nothing, unfortunately, about anything as far as really anything about Vault Warrior since, I don't remember the date. I know it was like drilled into our brains
a long time ago. As far as
that was like what, November?
It was October or November. It was one of those months. So, like, I went back and looked for the video at one point, and I had to go back many Crucible casts to find it. And that's because I was looking for the World's date, because it was all in the same cast.
Right.
Hey, we got a brand new Crucible cast that gave us the World's date again, and almost nothing else. That was cool.
Well, we did see some new keys, I guess, which if you're a key enthusiast like myself, you'll be trying to get those, and the key toppers, which is going to be a little vinyl figure that you can set on top. I don't know if it's magnetic or not. You can set that on top of your key when it is forged, or I guess when it's not forged too. I'm really not sure. What are your guys' thoughts on the vinyl figures?
I actually like the miniatures. I wouldn't actually bring them with me to events or anything. I know this is not like something we talk about, but I'm actually really excited about the RPG that's Keyforge based. So I would definitely like implement them into that when that comes out. But or like
same thing for me. Like I would keep it in the house.
Yeah.
Can't be carrying those around to tournaments or to events because you don't want to break them.
And that's the other question: how fragile are they?
Yeah,
nobody knows yet. We haven't seen
That's
them.
True.
I mean, and I guess my biggest thing is all of a sudden we got store championship kits. I find out about it through David Duncan, who's part of Yeti Gaming, just by a picture on Facebook, and it's like, whoa! I had no idea this was even going on. And in months
like
past.
Last time we had store championships come out, there's a huge article on it, just like we had for the Prime kit. All of the swag was kind of shown out, and lots of encouragement to get out to the store championships. But this kind of just showed up out of nowhere, and the store manager that I run the TO stuff for at my location said, "Hey, we got a new kit in." I was like, "What? You got another Bingle Bang Bang?" He was like, "No, it's brand new stuff." Like, when can I run this? Like, so when do we want to start doing this? He's like, I have no idea. I'm like, cool, bro. You might want to find that out and get back to me, and then I'll set something up.
Yeah, and, fortunate for us, I guess they did kind of switch up the prizes. They did hear our cries. The actual chain tracker cards are no more. What they will be shipping out instead is the little cardboard dials. So I dig the cardboard dials. I still use the one that I got from Indie. They're pretty decent quality. They seem to be okay. The one thing I'm really not okay with, and you guys can tell me how you feel, is the counters. We're getting stun again. I've been to so many primes now that I have stuns coming out of everywhere. And then armor tokens. These are a token I don't think I've ever even really used, even with the cardboard ones.
What are your so I have my own feelings about the armor. How about you, Grant? What are your thoughts on the armor before I go into mine?
Like having armor tokens in Keyforge?
Yeah, in general, like
it's not really something that I'm a big fan of. I think personally it's easy for me to keep in my mind, but to have to every single turn, like put tokens on, remove tokens, might actually forget something, that a guy's armor refreshes at the end of your turn. Just not a component that I really want to deal with physically.
So, I have a very specific reason why I don't implement the armor, and that's because it's not a token in the game. And I was actually somewhat frustrated that I don't remember which starter set it came out in, but at some point there was actually armor tokens in the starter set. It might have been Worlds Collide or something. I don't remember where they actually started to exist by FFG officially. The secondary, like the side markets, have had armor for basically ever.
Yeah.
Like, this hasn't been challenged, and I don't think it ever would be. I don't think any judge that I've worked with, or even as the TO at a Prime myself, would ever care. But, like, by the pure definition of it, there's no armor token in Keyforge. So if I were to put armor tokens on my guys at a premier event where all of the rules are supposed to be enforced, by pure definition, an armor token in play is a note. So, like, it shouldn't actually be there because there are no forms of note taking, whether it be cubes or indicators whatsoever in Keyforge unless it's an official counter that is referenced in the rules, which is the reason I don't use armor tokens, because no matter, like, by pure definition, they have to be considered a note because it's not a counter that is referenced anywhere in the rules, which is the entire reason I don't use them.
It's tough for me because I've never used armor tokens, never really, it's easy enough, one or two, between you and your opponent, you can figure it out. And it just, again, it adds, it's the same reason we're going to talk about time clocks again. I know you guys are fed up with it, but it's the same reason why I say don't add a time clock. It's adding another component to the game that is just not, it's that another thing to possibly forget. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's really useful.
Well, I definitely think time clocks are different, but well,
I'm not going to say the armor tokens aren't useful because I think they are actually very useful. I'm just going back to the only reason that I don't use them is because it's not a counter. It's not anywhere referenced in any material that you're going to have.
So if like FFG came out and said this is an official thing, would you start using them? Like if it was optional?
Like if they were referenced in a way that says like this is really a thing, I think I would use them in official play. I know in a way it helps more my opponent than me because I've never missed an armor trigger. I've never like missed a kill in a live official play because of armor. But I've definitely seen it happen to other people and against me. So it can help. I understand the value in it, but for right now, like the same reason I do not use power tokens on stuff like Lion Bertram or Hedras Wall or Pimpaka Anga, other than the fact that would be obnoxious. Like it doesn't say you're adding a counter to these creatures, so there should not be a counter on your creatures.
That's kind of an interesting thing too, because Pimpaka Anga gives everybody +2 power, but they're not power tokens. They're not permanent.
Yeah, counter is a reference rule thing in the book. There are several things in the game that literally add counters to your people, and not only should you be doing that when they happen, you have to, or you're actually breaking the rules by not adding them. So when people are adding counters when they're not counters, like if they really wanted to press it, it is technically a note. I don't see how that could be argued that it's not a note, based on other rulings we have had. But I don't see anyone doing that. Definitely do not do that to your opponent if that's what they're using, because that would just come off being real douchey. But
yep,
like as far as what the rules would say, if the judge really wanted to rule on like letter of the actual rulings, like that is what that would have to be considered.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do not go do that in a vault. Please don't do that.
I mean, I don't even know. Like that would be that would be the one place that would either make them or break them, I guess. Because if you do it at a vault, you're like, well, he didn't put his armor tokens on his character. Now an official ruling has to be made, right?
I mean, I guess.
Well, maybe more at Vault Warriors, because Vault Tours are still, more for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't want to do that at a vault. When it comes down to Vault Warrior and everything is for money, I mean, at that point, we might need to just ask in advance, like, what is really going on with all of these tokens? Because there's people that use tokens for a lot of things. Like one of our locals, one of our players uses a token for elusive and taunt and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I got handed a bunch of those just going about the vault tours. And there's elusives and taunts, and they were handing me cards, and it's like, oh, I guess they're useful, but do I really want to put these on? And then, okay, so now you've attacked it, so I got to take it off.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that do all sorts of things, and that's fine. But once you come to Vault Warrior, like, I don't know. I mean, money changes certain things. Vault Warrior is obviously a certain type of mode, certain type of competition level. Is that all that stuff can be okay? I don't know. That's not my call.
It's not. And this goes kind of back to the information and where we need more info. I mean, for you guys, you guys are more into that competitive scene than I am. What is Vault Tour going to change the most for you guys besides the money?
What is Vault Warrior going to change for? By you guys, you're talking about our team?
You and Grant.
Okay. For me specifically, it's going to change how much I have to travel and how much I have to invest. We know one of the very few things we do know about Vault Warrior is that it's going to take 3 days. So we're assuming it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That means more time off of work, and I'm running out of days. Like most people, that have jobs, you only have a certain amount of days that you can take off to attend stuff that's not your job. Which it would be nice to know these well in advance so we could kind of parse out those days. We already have that affecting more than just one person on the team that I play on.
I was just thinking about that too, and it was just something we didn't bring up is that, Especially, I mean, my job's a little different because I basically tell my boss, hey, going to be gone these days, you know what I mean? But some of these, you have to give 2-3, month notice before you're allowed to take that time off.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't affect me personally in that way, but like I just have a finite amount that I have to work with. But like for several people that are going to be playing this game, and especially there's going to be a bigger draw to go play in a Vault Warrior because yes, you can win money, and I mean, as far as like Vault has this weird area that I actually really love that it is there, where a lot of casuals can just come out and play and have fun, even win it. That aren't like super competitive. Well, the whole vibe of Vault Warrior, it's very apparent. This is the upper echelon of competitive play for Keyforge's future. So it's going to have like all of the people that are the most competitive in the game are going to want to go to all of them. Grant's talking about going overseas, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh, I'd love to. Because I think the change that Vault Warriors brings to me is very... Yeah, for Vault Warriors. Not for Vault Tours. Not for Vault Tours. Because the change that Vault Warriors brings is super positive for me. Changes how I play Keyforge and how I practice Keyforge.
Yeah.
We're having less sealed, less solo Archon, and more adaptive, which is an extremely fun way to play Keyforge, but it requires a lot more skill and a lot more practice and familiarity with different types of decks. And I really enjoy practicing AoA versus AoA, Worlds Collide versus Worlds Collide, and seeing how different decks are good against different sets. That's really fun stuff that the Vault Warriors is going to bring.
Now, have you seen any changes on your little database about like
the Crucible Tracker?
Yeah, the Crucible Tracker. About I've noticed it a bunch, just kind of thumbing through and digging through my own numbers, which was kind of helped me with my one deck challenge, which really showed me like, hey, when you get this combination, you win more times than not with this deck, which was actually how I ended up. I'll get to the one deck challenge in a minute, but is it me or does the number of AoA decks seem to be almost non-existent?
They are definitely less represented than the other two sets. Usually, if you look at the Crucible Tracker at any given time, you'll have like 7% people playing AoA decks. It's hard to find them.
Yeah, I mean, and then what? Is it 50-50 split between the other two? Or
it's usually about, I'd say like, of the rest, 2/3 is Worlds Collide, and then there's always a decent amount.
Because the biggest thing we need to know now, too, just because of thinking of that, is Coda going to be available for us for the first Vault Warrior?
Well, even if it is available, it would be in that day 2 section where you have to ban one of the previous two sets. And so everyone's going to ban Coda, which essentially means no Coda.
Yeah.
No Coda for Vault Warriors.
Like, based on what we know of the two sets, if you give me the choice, just blind of striking the two, I'll blind strike Coda. But like we are under the impression that you get to see the two decks. So, like, based on the data that we have, like, no AoA deck has won a Vault Warrior that wasn't sealed, right?
Correct.
There was one in the top 4 recently, which was very interesting because that was also in the field of Worlds Collide, which is proven to be very, very good.
And that was the big news, that it even got close to the top.
Well, overseas, we did have one in the top 2.
Yes.
Which was Grump Buggy nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's really the only time we've seen it. And other than that, you guys are better to tell me than anybody else is. I can't imagine you're seeing much AoA at Vault Tours anymore. Maybe smattered here and there, but not a ton, right?
Well, there's a few really, really, really good AoA decks. Like, that's the problem with AoA. The difference in power is incredible. Well, but like at the last Vault Tour, we saw a couple Generosity decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the interesting about AoA. It's just not that, like, when he says there's a few really good ones that we know of, it's not just that they're really good. It's just some of these AoA decks can be matched up against some Coda and some Worlds Collide deck and have near 100% chance to beat them. So it's like, which is what I predicted a long, long, long time ago, is that AoA was going to generate 50 of these decks. They're just bonkers. It didn't actually end up being like the types of decks that I thought were going to be there, because I thought like Jinka was just kind of a shrug at, but that's actually one of them. There's some Jinka decks that are just really, really hard to beat with some decks. It's not that you're like, oh, I'm slightly disadvantaged in this matchup. It's more like my opponent has a 95% chance to beat me, and my 5% chance is that these two cards are the last 36 and 35th card of their deck.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing when you come up against one of these 50 AOA decks, because it really comes down to like, do they draw this card or not before I can forge 3 keys?
Yep.
So it's because some of those decks are really, really good, and one of them specifically has three Grumpuggies, which is really hard to deal with if it didn't even have Jinka in it too, but it does. So it's just one of those things. Like, those decks are out there, and if you don't have, like, in most of the cases, if you don't have artifact control, you just can't beat them. So.
Well, 3, it sounds like even with artifact control, you're gonna be still riding a struggle bus.
Yeah.
So,
like, for the best Jinka decks in the world, it really is. Like, your win condition is them never seeing Martian Generosity before you forge 3 keys. But the other main decks that we've seen and we kind of know that are floating out there actually do more result. Like, their win is more about the artifacts that they can put in play. If you do have artifact control and you see it, you obviously have a way to end. So.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into the one deck challenge. I just want to let everybody know that is wrapping up. I did film it this weekend what is it? I Am Bored Games out in Middleton, Wisconsin. That video will be going up next week. It's going to take me some time to edit that. I just finished the Gray's Lake Prime, which that'll be going up on Tuesday. Also, don't forget, check out archonscorner.com. We've got some new articles up there from Blake and from Jupiter, who's putting that stuff up there. And every Thursday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, you guys can catch the streams over at twitch.tv/Archons Corner. Hope to see some of you guys there. And as we record right now, we got Jupiter and Big J are live. I don't know what they're doing. I'm assuming playing Keyforge, but as far as like what their goal is, I'm not sure yet. I didn't get to pop in quite yet. And then on another note, I kind of want to put out that our reversal tournament is coming to an end. We do have a winner, but we don't have a third place yet. So I'm going to wait till that game takes place to kind of give you guys the breakdown. So we'll kind of go over that probably next week. But in the meantime, we're going to get the new reversal league going. A lot of people really liked it. I only did kind of, I guess, a real quick shout, and we've already got a ton of people signing in. So make sure you guys go over there. You can find the link in our Discord. And again, that Discord invite always in the bottom section of this show. You can join in there, find the Reversal League. The link is in there to then join the Reversal League and kind of go from there. The other big thing I wanted to kind of put out there is, what other tournaments do you want to run? I put this to our Discord currently, and the big 2 I got were Reversal and Adeptive. So my question to you guys, why are these two kind of, Reversal maybe not so much a fan favorite. I think a lot of people are finding fun in playing it now that they're actually playing it, and like who's got the best of the worst decks. But Adaptive just like doesn't seem to be one that is represented at all, and is widely kind of renowned as the most skill intensive format in Keyforge. Why are we just not seeing these, do you guys think?
I mean, I could speak as a TO. As far as being a TO at a local store where you have mixed groups, families, friends, running Adaptive in a local space is a little harder because it requires an assumption of knowledge and skill above average, and it takes longer. Even if it is 8 or less people, you're talking about potentially best of 3 type thing going on, where you would have 3 rounds of 90 minutes, in which case that is a much larger time investment of just 3 rounds of 35 minutes or 45 minutes if it's sealed. So that's That's asking people at the locals to stay out. Like, one, know a lot more about the game, period, and then stay 3 times as long as they would have for the same amount of reward and prices and all of that. So it's hard for locals to run that type of event.
I understand that for locals, but I'm really talking like Vault Warrior, or I'm sorry, not Vault Warrior, Vault Tour scene. We've seen what? Have we even seen a Vault Tour that is adaptive?
Not pure adaptive, no.
The only form of adaptive that has ever been played in the Vault scene is in the finals in the United States before Yeti took over.
Right, but I think the only large tournament we saw was the Grand Championships was adaptive. But beyond that,
it was not adaptive. It was sealed.
Oh, it wasn't sealed Triad. That's what it was. You're right.
And then Vegas, after Yeti took over, was Archon Triad. Other than the, I think, 7 vaults that were under Cascade, it might have been 8, depending on how you count Gen Con. It's those 8 matches of the finals being adaptive are the only vault appearance of adaptive that we've had.
I'm just wondering why we're not seeing that. I mean, adaptive is kind of like I said. I've heard so many different people talk about it, and it's just not happening. And I'm kind of wondering
I know it's
why.
Something that our team has wanted for a long, long time. We know we're going to see it in Vault Warrior. Heck, from the information, the little information that we do have about anything is that day 3 of all Vault Warriors is all adaptive all the time. And the Vault Championship is believed to be adaptive in its entirety. So we know we're going to get the highest level of play adaptive very soon. But I want a reversal vault. I want an adaptive vault. I want to see vaults that aren't just Archon and sealed. We've had so many vaults, and I've been to so many of them, and they're always, I mean, Survival Archon, it's a little different than normal Archon. I do prefer it more than Archon, because I've said multiple times on this cast that I think just solo Archon is the most boring format to play in. But yeah, I would rather have just all of these other variants to see and play. And honestly, even though I was excited about it, the sealed Triad, I was actually not that enjoyable for me when I did that at the Grand Championship, which we talked about back then. But there's still all of these other things that we have yet to experience at a vault.
Still haven't seen any reversal at a vault.
Nope.
To any, well, I mean, besides for the
Side events.
The side events. But beyond that, no, we haven't seen any reversal. Which, I mean, I know a lot of people think is slow and grindy, but I'll tell you what, I don't think we just went through a full reversal tournament.
People say it's slow and grindy, but honestly, mostly, like, I've run multiple reversal tournaments at my local. They normally finish much faster because there's no amber control. One of the players is 4-18 amber. Game's going to be over.
Right.
So,
and we did set a clock for this tournament. We said set your timers because that's something you can do on TCO now to 35 minutes. You get a standard 35 minutes to complete your game. Not a single one went to time.
Mm-mm.
We had nobody come to us and go, we ran into time.
They go real fast. And they go fast with people playing decks they obviously never played before.
Right. So I don't think reversal being slow and grindy is not the way. Definitely makes you think outside the box more times than not.
Oh, I still love reversal. Like, it might be one of my favorite formats. Like, had I got the chance to ever see adaptive, I'm sure I'd probably prefer adaptive. I've been one of the proponents of it for the longest, as being I think it is like the most real form of Keyforge, because a lot of Keyforge is discovering combos, analyzing decks, and you have to do all of that in an adaptive match inside of the 90 minutes you have, and you have to do it at a very high level if you want to be good at adaptive.
So make sure you guys go sign up for that. I think I'm going to create an adaptive running up here too, kind of going from there. And let's talk about the last thing we really had on our sheet today. I don't think we had anything else, which is Primes not awarding shards. What's going on with that, Z? You tell me what's up. I've only come into this once, And then
my wife
whatever
and
they did,
son
fix
has
the problem.
now experienced it twice. Once in San Antonio a long time ago. I don't remember the date for that. I was at a vault, so I guess if I wanted to track back whatever one that was, or just go look at the San Antonio Prime from the list, they both never got charged for that. And then, not last weekend, but the weekend before that, we were all at another Prime in Dallas. Myself included, and we were all there. Even the guy called me over to look at Jim to make sure it was good because it was the first time in a Prime. Everything looked good. He even said it was a Prime as far as the event type, and none of us got shards again. They've sent in information, all of the information to the people they need to, but they just don't seem to be getting back to them. I was joking with the guy that was running the Prime that had messaged FFG. It's like, well, maybe they fired the guy that answers that email. I don't know.
That's unfortunate.
Now, Grant, are you running into any of these issues either? I've only ran into once.
I haven't been to any primes.
Oh, shame on
Finding
you.
in-person Keyforge for me has proved pretty difficult.
I'm going to tell your boss. Z? Grant's not going to primes.
I'm not Grant's Prime.
I'm just messing around.
I play online all the time, though.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I've only
Yeah.
experienced it once. Alex told me it was because the software was out of date. When I went back there, so the game that I was at the Prime at this weekend was also the store championship that I won. I didn't get any shards for that whatsoever. It still says 0 in my account.
Oh, so this just happened with you?
So I got the Prime shards, but I didn't get my store championship shards. That was back in December. I
think it was the store championship we didn't get charged for. That was also hell. I have no idea. That was so long ago, I forgot.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm considering those
saying that
lost.
just now reminded me. Like,
yeah, I don't know when I'm going to see them, if I'm ever going to see them. Alex said it was due to software being out of date.
that seems to be like, I know this is our like flaming FFG episode, so we'll try to never do this again, but like at some point we have to say something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the standard answer is like, oh, it must not have been up to date, or you must not have downloaded it. Like, I was in the store for the Dallas Prime. I watched, like, I told him where to go to download the update, and I watched him do it in person. It was definitely up to date from their site. Mm-hmm. They downloaded it, updated it, and then ran the program. So it's like, I guess that is their standard answer, and I think that's what they probably told them anyway. Well, I guess they haven't responded to it yet, but anyway.
Well, and that might be what their thought is too. You know, you get a handful of people saying I'm not getting shards, and then they look at the information that they're given, and they don't.
Yeah.
Hey, your software is out of date. You know, and that's probably been the assumption moving forward. I don't know, to be honest with you. I like I said, I consider those shards lost. Even at the event, I'm 2 shards short. I'm going to buy 2 decks, because I'm making sure that come Vault Tour Dallas, somebody is bringing me a bag home. And,
we'll get you your bag, Wookie.
I'm sorry. I got him and I'm like, I'm going to get it. Like, and watch now I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to say it. They're going to be out. They're not going to have any. And still, this is another thing. I haven't really talked to Vince or anybody as of recent, but what are they going to do with all that stuff that's marked 2019 on it?
I don't know. The 2019 season is going to last forever. So,
I guess the season, goes until Worlds, right? And then we're reset.
Yeah,
because the 2019's over.
Like clearance at the Worlds event. Although I imagine they'd want their new product out for the Worlds event.
That would be the assumption. You know, here's your last chance to get 2019 stuff, and here's all the 2020 stuff. I mean, we've seen a lot of cool new stuff.
That would be smart business wise to have a clearance section,
right? You know, get it at a discount. Because I don't know what they do. You know, what do you do with it afterward? It's all dated.
I know they are like running out of stuff that hasn't been replaced. Because I've been to obviously all the recent vaults. And there's just been certain things that they don't have anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think they definitely are getting near the end of supply on certain items.
And that's what we were told about from Alex last time we had him on. That they're not replacing, items as, there's certain items up there that are very evergreen.
That all lines up. Like everything it says is true. There's certain chain trackers that are just gone. There's certain of the little deck boxes you can't get anymore for certain houses. I think in the last photo of that, there's even mats from the original 2019 series that they did not have anymore. Can't remember which one. I think like the Time Traveler mat's gone. Like gone.
Yeah, it was a pretty popular one. Time Traveler was a pretty.
Some of the other
one.
ones I think were gone too, but but then they had some like the ugly looking Untamed mat. There's still a ton of those.
Yeah, the Untamed mat never did well. What else?
It's not like you need the cool cards in Untamed. It's like Regrowth, Ancient Bear, something else is on there too.
I can't remember. It was in that same. Was it Bear Flute?
Maybe it was all bear looking.
It was all bears related stuff.
Like, come on, give me like Telega. Like, just Telega would have been cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Or Witch of the Eye. Like, I don't know. Some of the cool stuff.
Grant, before we wrap this up, a little bit of a shorter episode this week, mainly due to the fact of we don't have news to give you. We can't make up news. Yeah. I mean, we could make up news. But
totally.
I don't think that would go well. Like
we could announce that we're going to have an announcement. I mean, I hear that's the thing.
Well, next week we're going to have an announcement, so just want to let everybody know. Grant, tell us what's going on with the Crucible Tracker. Anything fun and exciting?
See, I've been working a bit, making it mobile friendly. So, dig into your data on mobile, fixing up the leaderboard, Hall of Fame, that sort of stuff. So, a lot of maintenance things going on. And of course, preparing for the new set being released on TCO. There's a lot of prep work that goes into that, making sure that your old data doesn't explode.
Right.
Make sure the site doesn't explode, which it probably will, because all these crazy little keywords like enhance and stuff.
Yeah.
Got to figure out how that's actually going to play out.
I think we're going to have Nathan on again and kind of figure out how he's working with that whole ideal. Because that's kind of a crazy thing, right? I mean, you're not talking about severe randomness going into decks, and he does. I don't know if we're going to be able to.
I think he actually has, I haven't talked to him directly about this. I don't think any of us have, but he has to make a decision point on where he wants to put the enhance value of the card. So it would be real easy for him to take a card that has, let's say, enhanced add 2 amber. It doesn't matter to that card, like to the arc score necessarily. If he wanted to do it this way, just by saying that card's value is going to be 2 higher amber, expected amber, even though it's not actually that card, it's some random card in the deck. Like, that would be really, really easy for Nathan to do. And technically, the arc of the deck would be the exact same as it would be if he'd went out and found where that card's amber actually went to and applied that expected amber to that card.
Which I don't know how.
The option is to actually using whatever data he gets from the code to assign the expected amber to the actual card that it went to. That would be much more complicated.
Well, when you fetch data from the Master Vault API, the expectation is that they will have this enhanced information provided. It would be very strange if they didn't.
Well, I think it's obviously, I think the answer to that is it's definitely going to be there from the statement. Brad actually replied to this in a Facebook group somewhere saying that from the deck list, you should be able to tell where the enhancements go. In my mind, this looks like it's going to be really messy on the back of the card when looking at the deck list, but that's what he said in one of his responses to one of the people asking questions about enhanced.
I was wondering if they're going to put, how we have Maverick logos and Legacy logos, if they're going to have this card's enhanced logos.
One card has 5 random logos. Like, that's really weird.
Yeah. Or you can just make an assumption, I guess, at that point. So, I don't know. I'm
better
really
than not having the data, so that's good.
I'm interested in kind of that how that's all gonna turn out, and kind of go from there.
My vote, if I were Nathan, would just be to assign it generically to the enhancer, because that's the way the arc kind of works anyway. But I get it wouldn't, because he now has a way you can kind of see the arc in the deck by house, and that would almost always be wrong from that point forward for all mass mutation decks and beyond. unless he did do it the itemized way, where you actually assign the arc to where the card actually is getting it.
We'll see. We'll have to. I think it's time to get Nathan back on. We're getting to that time again where we're going to have guests. So,
I think once we get to the point where we know about 50% of the cards, it'd be great to get him back on, and then because at that point he'll have already been starting his process. At least more in depth in his process for the next set.
Right. And next set is due out in a couple months. So this will be...
Yeah, we're looking at end of May.
We're hoping for, I guess, spoilers coming out. It just, again, with the lack of articles lately. I don't know what to tell you. That's normally we go through the spoilers and kind of go through the cards, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing. That's why, number one, Grant, that's why Grant's here. I want to get really deeper into decision-making, stuff like that, because the biggest thing I found out through the one deck challenge, just being that I played that deck since December, I unfortunately wasn't really able to get to many store-bound or chain-bound events due to Christmas, New Year's, and then a career switch. Lots of stuff just went down, but I did play a ton on TCO, and with the deck I had, there was 2 cards that basically told me if you start with one of these 2 cards, you're going to win about 80% of your games, and that was spot on going into the prime. I knew I'm hard mulliganing for basically a treasure map or a Fangtooth Cavern, and if I find one of those 2 cards within first couple turns, I got a good shot at winning the game. If I don't, and it's, one of those 2 cards buried, I'm in trouble, and I got to figure out another way. Also, going first, I found out that I was winning about 80% of my games going first due to that extra card, and that went up to like 85 if I mulliganed. So, check your TCO stats, especially on the Crucible tracker, because just kind of playing around and digging around in there, I never really looked at them before, but I decided to kind of, like I said, look around, see how the deck was doing, because I didn't know the win rate. And I'm like, oh, look at all this awesome information in here. And then
I just, of cool stuff.
Finding this stuff out, it's like, I wonder if we can replicate. And this is about 20 reps in. I'm like, I wonder if I can replicate this. And sure enough, it was starting to flow. So it really teach you and help you better understand the deck you're on. So we're going to get more into that information. And maybe we're going to kind of go through the really hard information of my deck that I went through last week. And Grant can kind of maybe give us some information. I'll get you guys the deck list.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Show me the deck.
I'll get you guys the deck list. You can take a look at it. Make sure you guys go to the Discord. Sign up if you guys want to do the reversal. I will get a adaptive league set up here shortly. Probably by the time you're hearing this, it'll probably be up. And join both or whatever one you want, and we'll have a ton of fun.
So for our viewers, our listeners, they will be able to play in both leagues?
Yeah, everybody will be able to play in both leagues. I mean, the way we've been doing it is 1 game a week. Make sure you get, it's basically everybody gets separated into pods of 4. I think that was the easiest way to do that. Depending on how many we get, either top 2 or top person in that pod, we'll move on to the elimination rounds. And then obviously, it's a game per week. I think we can all manage a game per week. In some cases, some people were getting both their game, 2 or 3 games in and they were done their first week. That's fine too. As long as all the games are done basically by the deadline, 1 game per week is not hard. Even I was able to squeeze that in. I think I don't think that's crazy to you guys.
No, makes sense.
No, depends on time zones, but
yeah, it does depend a lot. I mean, we did have a couple people from overseas and even they didn't really have too many troubles. So if we do run into that problem where we get overseas people, we'll start changing it a little bit. But thus far, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I hope to keep it that way, and we'll kind of go from there. Boys, anything else before we kind of boot, scoot, and boogie?
I'm just been working on sealed practice here at home and ready for another sealed vault.
Grant?
Yeah, nice. I'm just excited for Vault Wars. Just sitting here waiting.
Awesome. So, Grant, as soon as information comes out your phone, I'm going to text your phone. I'm going to blow it up.
I would be so excited.
There's information, which I got to imagine is coming out soon. I know we're so used and accustomed to hearing soon, but I mean, eventually there's going to be a D-Day.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. Soon.
We will see you guys all next week.